Sunrise Extra on a Tuesday morning is underway. Here we are in the studio, Brenda, Christopher, myself, and we're talking today about a topic that certainly has some parents in Gresham fired up over the weekend, and we saw them again last night outside of Gresham High School. They were protesting because they found out late last week that their kids, their students, their daughters, would have to wear masks during their volleyball games moving forward, at least for the time being. And this was a directive that came from the school district, but it really came from Multnomah County. Multnomah County saying that kids within the county at schools need to now wear masks indoors while playing, whereas the state directive, Brenda, as you know, and Chris, the state directive before the school year began said, okay, for athletics, the crowd needs to be masked, the coaches need to be masked, kids on the sidelines waiting to get into the game need to be masked, but the athletes in competition don't need to be. That's now changed in Multnomah County. We're asking, and this is a poll question we put up early this morning on our Sunrise Twitter page, do you think high school athletes should have to wear masks when they're playing games or matches indoors? This is a sampling of our audience, of course. The majority of that sampling saying no, they shouldn't have to, but it's not too late to weigh in, and you can certainly weigh in by commenting on our Facebook Live stream right here, right now.
Those numbers have stayed pretty steady. I think the no's were up into the 60s at some point, but it's kind of, they've been leading the way. Right. A lot of people taking that poll don't think it's a great idea. So I just needed some perspective, right? I'm like, okay, what are the arguments pro and con if you're not a parent? But just what are people saying? What are agencies saying? So I just screen capped a couple of them. I thought it was interesting because the World Health Organization doesn't recommend wearing a mask during exercise because they say it can make breathing more difficult. Additionally, this goes on to say sweat can make the mask wet, and that impacts breathing and then promotes the growth of other microorganisms. This I thought was also interesting on the flip side. So this is a reason to wear a mask. It says your body begins to adapt to the reduced oxygen intake, making your heart and lungs work harder. And then when you take the mask off, you get a big boost. Your body has adapted to the restricted oxygen. It's able to use the oxygen more efficiently, which helps you perform better. My producer was talking about like elite athletes. We're not talking about high schoolers, but they do wear those masks that make them work harder to get their cardiovascular system like ready.
That's a training mechanism.
Yes.
As opposed to an in-game right now, how's that going to affect you right now at this very moment thing.
And what do we know about how it affects the kids? Have we had, I mean, just kind of globally, have we had instances of
wasn't there a story of, well, you're putting me on the spot, but like, I don't know, am I just making this up? There was a story last school year of an athlete who, why am I going to even say this without knowing where the heck this came from? But I remember vaguely a story about an athlete who collapsed at the finish line after running a race.
Yes, the Bend High School girl at Summit.
And
she was wearing a mask and she collapsed right before setting the school record, or after setting the school record on the track. That was in May.
Thank you for bringing some actual detail to that memory.
And their coach, the Summit High School coach, who's been there years and has built a powerhouse of a track program in Bend, was pretty, strongly in favor of supporting his athletes.
Right. So that was a good question that I was afraid we didn't have an answer to, but there is an answer, and it's for some reason I was thinking it wasn't even local, but
no, it was
right,
Bend.
Chris, it was Bend.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's one instance, and that was outdoors, where I know outdoor athletes right now, football players are not required to wear masks in games. Athletes on the sidelines waiting to get into football games, soccer games right now still have to wear their masks. Chris, let me ask you, have you done any running at all this year or last year with a mask on?
Yes.
Your thoughts on doing it?
I wore that little, the little, what do we call this thing?
Like a gator?
Yeah, I wore it very frequently when outside. When the advice became, yes, that you could be emitting virus particles. It took a little getting used to, but then I was like, okay, this is, I can deal with this. Now, I haven't had to, I haven't worked out to the level of like racing with a mask on, so, but I can certainly speak to, when you're respirating that hard, you're gasping for air. You're trying to get as much air as you can. So I can certainly empathize with the idea that like seems ridiculous to be, you're choking. Here, let me help you choke a little more because you can't breathe, right? I mean, that's
So is the answer then, I mean, if you believe, some people may say, well, then they shouldn't play the sports indoors right now. That could be someone's response to that. You know, these parents we heard from in Gresham last night, certainly their response was, these kids need to get the masks off their face. They should not be wearing masks while they're competing. But someone on the other side of the fence on this argument would say, well, then how about we just shut it down and we don't let them play at all?
I mean, I see the logic. That is a logical conclusion. I don't know if I agree with it.
Okay, I'm going to kind of take this in a little different direction. On KGW.com, we interviewed the woman. Remind me of her name.
The woman we had in the story this morning was Sharice. Yes, Sharice Edmonds. Okay. Yes.
She says, because this is America and this is the land of the free, quote, you should get to choose what you want to do. So the Multnomah County health officer, one of them, responded to that in our article and said, the county's new guidance will help protect those who don't have the choice to get vaccinated or who choose not to. A vaccine will save your life. A mask will save someone else's. So it is kind of this community thing. But again, when I hear people say, and I understand the general sentiment that this is America and we get to do what we want to do, since when? Like, we follow all kinds of regulations that I'm certain not all of us want to follow.
We've all had these arguments around the dinner table with friends, family, right? I mean, you wear a seatbelt now, right? Because we decided that was a good safety thing to do, right? Yeah. We've eliminated, or we thought we eliminated, you know, measles and polio and all these other horrible diseases with vaccinations because it was mandated to get in to go to school.
Well, do you have the quote still pulled up? I know you just pulled it back down.
Yes,
I would love to hear that again. Just I understand the part about this is America, and what because this is America, she says what?
You should get to choose what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, when we put the average person on the street and we stick a microphone in front of their face and ask them for their feelings on this, you know, sometimes they say things emotionally there. Obviously, that doesn't make any sense because I may be running late. I may want to drive 35 miles an hour in your neighborhood to get to where I need to go on time, but I don't get to do that, right? We don't get to do everything we want to do just because we're Americans. So yeah, reading that quote literally is kind of tough.
I know it is. I know. I find it difficult. Let's take a look at what other people are saying. I think we've got some tag board comments. J-Dub says, in Hawkinson, my daughter is in middle school and must wear one.
Must wear a mask, yep.
Oh, wear one, got it. Wear a mask playing volleyball. My other daughters play rec indoor soccer with WSUV and they wear a mask every game. This is where we are with masks. We have to protect the kids. Mask up. Okay, and then we have vaccinated players should not have to wear masks, which is the state mandate in Oregon, right? Vaccinated players don't have to wear a mask. Another viewer says, no, they shouldn't be forced to wear masks while playing sports. And then we have a yes, if we ever want to see this pandemic, and they absolutely should wear masks. And we've got one more.
One more, yep.
Are face shields acceptable to wear instead of a mask?
I don't know if I'd want to be wearing a face shield playing volleyball. Right? I mean, is that hard plastic? No, seriously. I don't think that's a viable, safe option.
But also, I mean, yeah, you're going to stop the spit, but you're not going to stop the aerosols, right? So that's kind of...
Man, this is so tough. This has been our state and our world for the last 2.5 years. Am I overstating that?
2 years.
2.5.
Well, a year and a half.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
It feels like 2.5. Yeah.
It's basically like 2.5 school years, though. It was all of last school year.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's now this school year, and it was
half of the last half of that. Right. Yeah.
So I'm almost basing this on school years now. We're into year 3, if you go by school years, of dealing with this issue in our classrooms, in our athletics, and I can't tell you that I have a strong opinion either way. I will tell you this much from our own home field, so to speak. Boys had to wear masks last year to play baseball. I wish they didn't have to, but they did. They didn't even seem to mind it that much. Baseball, I understand, is different than volleyball.
It's outside.
It's outside, number one. You're not running full speed the entire time. In fact, in baseball, most of the time, you're not running at all. We had a decision last fall. They had the opportunity to play soccer. They had to wear masks to play. We've never taken soccer that seriously in our home. You know, it's always been kind of a rec sport they do for fun. They chose not to play. The boys didn't want to play that badly. They said, I don't want to have to play with a mask on. I said, all right, we won't play. But, you know, that dictated our soccer season last year. You have to wear a mask, we're out. I wasn't mad at the organization for saying they had to wear the masks.
Right.
I just made my own personal choice that they weren't going to play.
Yes.
Or they made the choice, actually. And I said, sounds good to me.
Yeah. People are weighing in. Shireen Miller-Simmons, good morning to you. She says, my son played in a mask for basketball until vaccinated. He did okay. Nicholas Ackerman says, it is ridiculous to wear a mask while you're exercising. Wake up, you people. Where are your brains? And then Stanford Walker says they should not play the sports.
Let's go back to the second to last comment.
The ridiculous, wake up, you should not have to wear a mask while you're exercising. Yeah, here's what you're thinking. You're spewing lots of stuff into the air while you're exercising. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't try not to get fired up over that, but I guess I am.
Yeah,
like, that's why you wear a mask.
You bet.
I agree that working out with a mask on is a little bit ridiculous.
It sucks.
So I would say work out in a place where you don't have to wear the mask, that is by yourself.
Outside.
If we're talking about strictly working out,
yeah.
You are not required to work out in a crowd of people, right? If you're just talking about exercise.
Right.
So when I go back to that person's comment, it's ridiculous that these athletes are having to wear a mask. I don't know if it is ridiculous. It stinks that they have to wear a mask while they play. I'm wondering then, if we don't want to wear a mask while we play, should we just be shutting down sports? And I know people will get really fired up when I bring up that idea.
That is the logical extension of that argument.
Yeah.
Connie Staub Miller says refusing to wear a mask unless a real, and she's got real in all caps, medical reason is just plain selfish. I mean, I still am surprised. I haven't, I got my nails done on Friday, and I was in the salon, and
Lovely,
everybody
by the way.
was, thank you. Mm-hmm. Everybody in the salon was masked up except one woman, one younger woman. And, you know, they've got those big plastic things between the technician and the customer. And I looked and I thought, what? The Vietnamese woman who was working on her was not going to say anything to her and didn't. But I just kept looking. I thought, well, surely when she gets up to leave, she's going to put a mask on. No. And I thought, Braxton, you're going to get yourself shot talking to somebody about their mask status. But I said, does the salon not enforce the mask mandate? Right. And, you know, the poor women who work there, right. They're like, oh, we didn't notice. And I'm thinking, my God.
Yeah, they noticed.
It's tough. Yeah. You know, people are selfish. They don't care. It's like, oh, whatever. The gal got up and walked over to her friend who had a mask on, but it was below her nose.
Enforcing, I've thought this from the beginning, right? Enforcing a rule, a law, a mandate, whatever you want to call it, that takes a certain type of person to enforce rules, to enforce laws. Like, not everyone is a police officer. And my point is this. That woman is a nail technician. Doesn't mean she's good at telling people what they need to do and what they should do, right? I know what you're saying. She could easily say, please put your mask on.
Well,
but some people aren't comfortable doing that.
The owner was in the salon.
Yeah,
and you know what? That's like, I can't let my 17-year-old go into a bar, and they better take, you know, the initiative to card them and to make sure that it's correct.
Right.
To at least ask.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know that it's really any different. The businesses said that they absolutely could not and would not police that. You remember early on in the pandemic, they thought, we can't have the cards. We can't do that. And what are they doing now? They're asking for proof of vaccination, so it got bad enough they could do that, and they are doing that.
You were annoyed by this woman for not wearing her mask.
Absolutely, she was breaking the rules.
I know you were annoyed with her. Were you equally annoyed then with the owner for not saying something?
100%.
Okay.
If I ever saw that again, I would choose not to go there again. I mean, it's
right.
that would be my solution.
I figured that's where you stood on that. I just wanted to ask.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
You can continue to weigh in. I haven't even taken a look, to be honest with you.
We have a bunch of them.
There's lots of good comments on here, yeah.
Do you want to read some?
Well, Willie's tired of talking about masks.
Oh.
I think we're all tired of talking about this. Is that the one thing we can all agree on, that we're all tired of talking about it, but can we agree on that we're in this situation because we're not agreeing on the way to get out of it?
I think that's probably, I mean, it's all, you know, all in the ball of wax.
Like unity would be buying into a cause and a solution.
Wait, I'll say.
And we would overcome it if we all got on the same page.
Well,
that's called teamwork.
Stanford is saying this. This is a hot point and he says that the conservative radio talking heads try to divide the country with. It is not Republicans versus Dems. It is we the people of the United States of America. Somebody else, Roberta Long, kind of echoing that.
Yes.
Yeah, since when can we do what we want? Wear a seatbelt, really? Please, this is, oh, no, I'm sorry. She has a different take when I got to the end. She says, gosh, sorry, girl, I missed. It just like totally
On
flipped
Roberta?
on me. Yes.
After she said after she talked about since when, wear a seatbelt. Really, please. Oh my God, why did you do that too to me?
So this is my body,
Jeez
and I'm not
Louise.
risking
Thank
my
you.
life or my child's with what is in the syringe.
Yeah.
So people aren't believing that it's safe. It is safe. People, experts, I think that is the consensus, that there is not some grand plan of something strange in the vaccine.
What threw me off at the beginning there was wear a seatbelt, but it was W-H-E-R-E.
Right,
I didn't
right,
understand,
right,
but she meant
right.
wear, W-E-A-R.
You gotta
Wear a
kinda
seatbelt.
edit
And
as you go.
She's arguing that it's not the same argument. That when we said, you know, you're not free to do anything you want in this country, for example, you have to drive with a seatbelt on. Be that as it may. What I'm finding, and as it's not surprising, right, the further we go along in the pandemic, the greater the divide becomes. I guess it was foolish to think that, hey, you know, as we move along here together in this COVID world, we'll sort of come closer together in our feelings and our ways to handle this, and we'll maybe come eye to eye on certain issues. No, we're just getting greater and greater divide.
Can't we all just agree that we all want to be done with it?
Well,
Can we
I
then
think we
all
do
just
agree on that.
Okay,
That's
then
easy.
okay. So then can't we just all agree on the means to get done with it, which is
That's what they don't
get
agree on.
vaccinated, wear a mask.
Right.
Because it's proven to be the most effective thing that we have.
yeah.
I mean, it's just.
Isn't it interesting, too, that Multnomah County is instituting these stricter than the state guidelines when it comes to student athletes indoors wearing a mask, but places in Southern Oregon that are really seeing a spike and have a really big problem with their hospitals filling up are not. So what we were talking before the show, that Multnomah County is around 80% vaccination rate.
Yeah, with all the
which is
people in this
high.
county, they have
Yeah.
almost 80% vaccinated now.
And they're instituting some of the strictest guidelines.
I will
It's
say,
all kind of backwards.
you know, for the parents we heard from yesterday, they had held a rally outside Gresham High School yesterday between 4 and 6 before the latest volleyball match there. I know some of these parents were also, you know, in the camp last year when indoor sports weren't allowed at all. There was the whole movement to let the kids play, right? I forget how, it may have even been called Let Them Play. But there was this huge movement to get kids back on sports fields and back on sports courts. And so this year, guess what? It's happening. But now it's happening in Multnomah County with one caveat that these parents are not happy about, and that is the masks. So I'm just going to put it out to you this way. Parents with kids playing volleyball who now have to wear masks and who aren't happy about it. If this school district, if the county, if the state came out and said, okay, your choice, one or the other, play with masks or we can't play at all, which would you choose? If you had to choose, and I'm thinking you would choose, okay, we'll play with the masks. It stinks, but we'll do it, right?
Yeah.
Because last year it was, hey, just let us play. We'll do anything, just let us play.
Can I circle back? Roberta, thanks for chiming in again. One of the last parts of one of her most recent comments is that she says, we have all had this virus and we are all far more protected than, and she uses the syringe. So I'm assuming that Roberta believes that they are far more protected from having the virus than getting the syringe, getting the shot. And that's been medically proven to be not true. You are better protected with a vaccine than you are by getting, as a general rule. Right. Because for a number of reasons, you can't actually say how strong your immune response was to that virus. You don't know to what level you were infected. So the vaccination is a standardized dose, controlled dose to know what level of immune response that you're going to have, so that they know that vaccine immunity is greater than exposure to the virus immunity. That is also medical fact. So, Roberta, I thought I would share that. My wife is a physician and reads these memos coming in her inbox all the time. That was one that she passed along to me, so I thought I would share that to you.
I think that's a good note to end on, because the debate will continue, but Sunrise Extra
We're not going to end it.
Not today, anyway.
No, we will not.
Thank you for watching us. We'll be back here tomorrow morning with another edition of Sunrise Extra.